Alright guys, set it. First game of the day. Alright, so since when you play Kindred, I played him back in season 9 because I was a Hecarim Kindred 2 trick, but then I stopped playing him because I didn't have much success with him since I would always like int my leads away and shit. But then since I've recently become a better jungler, it's like I've went back to him. Alright. I mean, Shaco always starts red. Like, always. But yeah, this should just be my practice other champ scouts. It's just because I forgot that, the problem is just that I forgot that I was playing on fucking, I was playing on this account. If I would have remembered, I went Hecarim. Because it's almost like my Hecarim's already perfect, so I don't need to practice him more, right? So if I'm gonna play Hecarim, it should only be on like my main account and shit. Alright, so Shaco's invading, of course. That's the thing about Shaco, he'll always do this like kind of cringe invade, you know? I feel like Shaco's gonna gank bot, 100%. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. That's actually really good though. Because like now he does that and it's like chill. Hold on, let me just get Q stacks off this. Gonna be honest with you guys, I was not expecting that to pan out. Doaenel only sleeps when the caffeine lets him? No, so see, that's the thing. It's like, genuinely no. Caffeine doesn't impact my sleep at all anymore. It used to back in the day, but now it's legitimately just like, do I feel like I deserve to sleep today? And if it was a bad day, then I don't deserve to sleep, so why would I sleep, right? In game, obviously. But yeah, that's why it's like, yesterday I didn't stream, right? So it's like, do I really deserve to sleep for like 8 hours if my existence yesterday was meaningless, right? Like in game. So no, yesterday that's why like last night, even though I was like tired, right? My body was just like, no, you're not gonna sleep that much. That's why I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just hit a little nice little 12-13 hour stream. See what happens with it. Just vibe with it. It's a reward of the day. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Sleep is kind of like a reward. Exactly. I can't work as a human if I don't get at least 10 hours. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, some people can function on low sleep like me, right? But if your body can't, don't try to force it to. It depends on what your body's capable of. So, like, for me, it's kind of like a mental thing as much as it's a physical thing, right? So even though, like, physically my body would require a lot of sleep considering, like, what I do, right? Like, I'll hit heavy workouts and shit like that. So I'll need to recuperate. It's almost like because of the way I view myself and because of the way I view, like, what I am a person am. If any of you read the tweet longer that I made yesterday, you'll understand a bit more about my thought process. But it's almost like, let's say you're playing a video game character, right? The video game character doesn't need sleep, and I just view myself as like a video game character for you guys, right? So it's almost like, why would I need to sleep then, right? And it's a mental thing, and I know that physically I need to sleep because at the end of the day I am like a person, right? But if my mind doesn't have a relation with the two, then it's not like I can just force myself to sleep. If that makes sense. And at the end of the day, it's funny too, because I've always also had this kind of like, it's a beast. I've always kind of had like this like third person view of myself as well, where I've always kind of viewed life as a video game, honestly. Like anything that you want, you can accomplish as long as you have like the work ethic and stuff like that too, right? So that's why it's like, for me, if I don't get like 8 hours of sleep and I get like 3 hours, so you know, it's like so, who cares? Fuck sleep. I was hoping to predict, but he actually went up here. Okay, let me tell you guys about a story that I read once when I was young that completely shifted the way I view things like sex and like relationships, right? So when I was younger, I would always browse like I'm like very open about this, right? But when I was younger, I would always browse these two subreddits when I was about 16. One of them was this like incel subreddit, and the other was this one called MG Tao, right? Which was kind of like men empowering other men and shit like that, right? And so I would always like browse. I would never post, but I would just kind of like, I would kind of learn from these people who had these like mentalities and shit, right? And there was this like one time someone was like making a post, right, related to stuff like that, where they were talking about how they had went, and this was like in the like men empowerment one, and they were talking about how they would always go out and sleep with random people, right? Like they would go out and every weekend they would sleep with like a new person, pretty much, right? And then he said that there was one morning he woke up when he was 23, and he was in bed with like two girls, right? He had just done a threesome the night before. And he just looked to like his left and right, and he thought to himself, what am I doing with my life? Right? He just thought that to himself, right? And he made this like post, right, where he was talking about like, what does that bring to him? You know what I mean? It's like, you can go out and you can sleep with a bunch of people, but at the end of the day, what does that bring you? Like, what does that bring you as a person, right? Like, oh, cool, you slept with this person, right? Like, you did this thing. But it's like, so? Oh, that's fucked. I didn't realize Fox was here. It's kind of like, imagine you're playing League and you're getting kills, right? The thing about it is you're getting gold, but you're not actually winning the game just by getting gold, right? It's just that you have gold to get items, but it doesn't really allow you to do anything, right? If you're not getting any objectives, you're still going to lose the game at the end of the day. And I feel like relationships and shit like that is kind of like the same, right? Where for me, a goal will always take precedent over a relationship, because relationships will bring you like a temporary sense of happiness, but they don't bring you anything as a person, right? I mean, not that it doesn't bring you anything as a person, but that if you're just chasing this casual relationship is what I mean to say, right? Like my brother goes out and he sleeps with a new girl every weekend, right? Guy's 21, has a body count probably in the 50s, honestly, maybe even 60. And it's just like, I think to myself, what does that bring him, right? Like, do I think he's happy when he goes out and he does these things? Maybe. But like long term, what does that bring you as like growth as a person, you know? So that's why it's kind of like ever since I've thought with that like mentality, I've never really cared about casual relationships or seeking anything like that. It just means like nothing to me. It's completely meaningless. Because at the end of the day, things like sex is just an activity, right? That's all it is. An activity that can bring you pleasure. And perfect. And it's just one of those things where for me, the most pleasure I could derive from any activity is streaming, right? Like streaming for you guys, producing good content, creating good content. That's the thing I derive the most pleasure from, when people will laugh at a thing I say, or when people will like get inspired by, let's say, something I say, or things like that. Like there's nothing that makes me happier than that, nothing. And that's why things like casual relationships, things like girls, things like that, just like it doesn't mean anything to me right now. Because any kind of like pleasure that I could derive from that, I already get from my stream and from like producing content. So that's why I don't care about it. That's why, like, why would I sit here and not stream for like 15 hours a day, right? Why would I sit here? Why would I take days off to like talk to one random girl and like, for what? It's like, what does that do for me? What does that bring me as a person, you know? I can say this when it comes to like the streaming scene, right? But when it comes to the streaming scene, I can honestly say that there would be infinitely more bigger creators, like really big creators, if they just prioritize their stream, right? But the problem is that, I don't know, people will just sit there, they'll feel like slightly I don't know, it's kind of like they see streaming as like a means to an end, right? Where they'll be like, oh, if I become like this big streamer, then I'll have a lot of girls like messaging me, or I'll have like a lot of money, right? Things like that, right? And they forget about the stream itself, and they only care about like what the effects of streaming are, right? And that's why I'm sure you guys have noticed it among like other streamers too, where you'll see that people who used to be a certain way, people who used to oh, it's fucked. I didn't realize that it was this gone. But it's kind of like people who will sit there and used to like do certain things. Once they actually start getting like success, it's almost like they take for granted what brought them that success, and they view themselves as like greater than, right? But for me, what am I? I'm just a kid in front of a camera, right? And that's one of the reasons why last semester I only took one class at school, even though I don't care about school, and I just want to focus on streaming, right? And it's because I always want to keep myself reminded of that at the end of the day, I'm no one, right? Because, like, sure, I can sit there and I can get like 1,000 likes on a tweet, right? But how many thousands of people on this planet, how many tens of thousands, how many millions will do the exact same as me, and I've never heard of them, right? So it's almost like a lot of people become so engrossed in their sense of like what they are, because they feel validated by everyone around them, that they forget that at the end of the day, you're just a normal dude in front of a camera, right? Like at the end of the day, I'm just like any of you guys, right? I wake up, I'll work out, and I'll stream, and that's all I do, right? It's like there's nothing that separates me from you except the fact that people watch me do what I do, right? Nice. Can you be good for life if you have a streaming career? I mean, yeah, for sure, yeah. But the thing about streaming, and this is the thing that not a lot of people talk about, is that the only time it's really like a profitable thing is, I would say honestly, if you're averaging, like, you can make it a full-time thing, but you'll be living like paycheck to paycheck almost if you're below 1,000 viewers for the most part. But then after you start getting to like about 1,000, that's when you can start, okay, well, now it could be something that you could actually like live off of and have like a good quality of life and shit. But that's the other thing too, it's right, like how many league streamers are there and how many actually do have that over 1,000. It also depends on like the amount of sponsorships you'll take and stuff like that too. Like if I took sponsorships, this isn't a joke when I say that I could genuinely make hold on. If I took sponsorships, I could probably make like 3 or 4 times what I make. But for me, it's like streaming has never really been about the money, so that's why I won't sit there. And that's why like anytime I get approached by, hold on, I'll get approached by sponsorship companies sometimes, and this has happened in the past, where they'll say they want like an overlay on my stream, and I always say no. The second is like a sponsorship requires me to have an overlay, I always say no. Because it's like, I don't mind at one point if it's like a 2-hour stream. Let's say I have to do raid, right? And I'd sit there and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to stream raid, and I could find a way to make it funny, right? Like, almost like, I could find a way to make it funny, genuinely. But if I have to sit there and have this like cancer fucking overlay for a month where it's like, it, not that it detracts from the stream quality, but like, it takes away from the sense of like at home, right? Because like my stream, it's like, what is it? It's League, it's a camera that shows me, and then it's a sub count, right? And then a song in the top left. Like, it's simple, it's nothing like fancy, right? And I always like that, and that's the same reason why I always like kept my mic the way it is, right? Because at the end of the day, if I keep this scuffed mic, it's almost like, it gives me more of a sense of like relatability, right? And it also makes me feel more at home, because this is who I've always been, right? If I sit here and I buy this like $1,000 mic setup, right? Like, oh, let me buy this like $1,000 mic setup and all this like fancy equipment and shit. It's like, then I actually have to become a streamer, right? I'm not just a kid in front of his camera anymore. And I always want to preserve that for as long as I can, because it just helps keep you like grounded in reality, right? I don't know, like, sure, there's like high quality, right? Like, you can sit there, you can get all these like overlays, and I've been offered some overlays for free actually, and I've always turned them down, because I don't want my stream to like lose its just like sense of like who and what I am, you know? Oh, I fucking love this build, bro. the best. This build is so disgusting. If I thought of doing a gym stream, I will be doing one on January 6th. The day before season starts, like, you guys a crazy fucking pull day stream. We'll go insane on it. Usually just watch you for yelling and hype and comment, but I respect it a lot after hearing you. That's the thing too, it's like, that's why I always try to be as personal as possible with my stream. Because with me, I've always felt like my viewers were like, it's like at the end of the day, you guys are actually like people watching me, right? I don't know, I've always just like being a guy who people, because I feel like once people understand me, it's hard to, just like it's kind of hard to like, not, I don't want to say it's hard to dislike me, right? But I don't feel like I have any like bad intentions or anything like that, right? Like I'm just someone trying to make people laugh and shit, you know? Hold on 1 second. Wait, what? What? Wait, I thought I was space gliding through the wall, but it was just because it was barred tunnel. I didn't realize it. But what was I gonna say? But that's one of the reasons why I like being as like personal as possible, and why I like showing who I am. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just like I've always liked being as personal as possible, because if you guys watch me, right, it's like you're supporting me, right? Like not just like a thing, you know. So that's why I like always giving mindset on that. Hold on. Are you guys ready? Look at this. Biceps diff. Dude, you know what's the funniest shit about Autolycus? He's gonna sit here, be the only losing lane out of like all three in jungle. He'll go 2 and 5 on set, and then he'll say biceps diff. You know what I mean? It's like, why? It's like, you know what Autolycus is like, or people that say shit like this? Chat, I'll tell you. It's like the kid who it's like, his friend is going to be like beating the shit out of a bully, right? And then he'll be there, and then while the bully's getting his like fucking shit kicked in, he'll just run up and kick him once in the head and say, yeah, take that. You know what I mean? Like in game. It's like, but you didn't do anything, right? Like it's the fucking MMA fighter going crazy at that shit. Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. Yo, that burst is kind of crazy, huh? Alrighty, not too shabby of a game.